This interview is brought to you by the 21 Day Challenge. If you're an entrepreneur or a high achiever, you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, lost, you don't know what to do next, and you know that there's more greatness, there's more potential, there's more excellence, there's more performance in you, the 21 Day Challenge is going to reignite you to help you succeed like never before. You'll get crystal clear on your long-term goals, break them down into bite-sized steps, and be held accountable every single day for 21 days straight and beyond. So if you want to find out more about the 21 Day Challenge, message me, Chris, at beyourgps.com, and let me know you're interested in the 21 Day Challenge, or find me on Facebook and message me there. Looking forward to talking to you about your next big breakthrough. The next portion is the iTunes review of the week. It's by ASLD, and ASLD says, such an uplifting energy. Chris shines so brightly. This is a man on a mission to spread love and authenticity. I'm in awe of his commitment to having fun, creating a life of fulfillment and abundance, and supporting others to do the same. Keep up the good work, Chris. The world needs you. Thank you so much. And if you want to give us a review, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes or search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on the iTunes store and give us a review there. Thank you so much in advance for doing that. I appreciate you, and let's ignite. Let's become our greatest possible selves together. Now, Armando Aguilar is about to come on and bring the fire, bring the heat, bring the gold to empower you to step into your greatest possible self. Make sure you grab a pen, grab a paper, be ready to take notes, because we're going to share the gold, the wisdom, and you definitely want to apply and implement this into your life. Good or good? Very good. And make sure you stick around all the way till the end, because you never know what one idea could transform the rest of your life. Okay, so let's introduce him, and then we will bring him on the show. Armando Aguilar is the CEO and show host of Bipolar Depression Power. He is also a motivational speaker, life coach for mental illness, and personal development, and he is here to bring the heat with us today. Armando, you ready to rock the house, brother?
Let's do this.
We're doing it, babe. We's doing it. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Become Your Greatest Possible Self, Armando. It's great to have you. I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to share with our audience how to become our GPS with you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
It's an honor. We've met very briefly, but I have a great admiration for you and everything you're doing, so it's an honor to be here.
Thank you. Thank you, Armando. I appreciate you. So we're going to dive right into the theme of the day, which is take a stand. Armando, how does this concept of take a stand show up for you in your life? What does that mean for you?
I actually love that concept, because when you start finding your own self, you could actually start taking a stand for what you believe. I think the biggest mistake people do is try to implement what other people think is best for you. And that's when you stop taking a stand for your own beliefs, because now you want to please somebody else. So that's what it means to me, find your own self in that sense, to stand on what you believe and make a choice that it's your choice, not somebody else's.
That's beautiful, man. Be a self-directed, choose your own reality. Don't buy into dogma or what other people say just because they say it. It's like create our own path, our own purpose, our own vision for our life, and then fulfill that.
Well, it's like the kid that plays football because that's their dad's dream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the important part of, like, find your own self.
Yeah.
You could actually live a happy life.
Yeah.
You're just living a life trying to please somebody else.
Yeah.
I just did a post that said, travel the world and you'll find yourself.
That's good. So true. So true. You'll see what you resonate with. You'll notice the cultures and things and activities and moments and feelings and situations that have you come alive. And when you do that, you have clarity on who you are and what's important to you.
Not only that, you get to meet, like you said, so many different things that you're like, oh my God, I never even thought about this, that I really like, that I can implement in my life.
Yeah. Damn. It's powerful. I love it, Armando. So tell us a little bit more about who you are, what you stand for, and what your clients come to you for today.
Well, obviously, my whole business, Bipolar Depression Power, is based on personal development and mental illness. And what we do is we help people find their happiness so they can find so they can regain their self-love and their self-worth.
Beautiful.
And again, start living the life that they deserve. So that's kind of where a lot of my clients come up to me, and whether you face a mental illness or not, it's getting that clarity, getting that happiness, because we live in such a fast pace. And again, I get so many people that say, "Well, I want to please my parents, or I want to please my husband, or this is what so and so thinks is best for me." And what happens with that, they never end up living a real happy life, or they believe that the illness, a mental illness, has control of their life. And this all started by me sharing my story. I faced bipolar, and I said the word face, and we'll get into that. Instead of saying I have, right? So I just shared my story, and I got a lot of people, oh my God, you talk about it, you have no fear about it, like you don't let the stigma determine your life. And then that just started growing, and people started reaching out to me and say, hey, can you coach me? Can you give me some, inspiration? And that's how the life coach came out of there. And then I got invited to go speak places. That's the motivational side that came out of there. And now we're so happy to launch our show, on YouTube. So, which is Bipolar Depression Power. I recommend you guys to subscribe to it. It's healthy for you. And, and that's how it's evolved. And the beauty of it is I've noticed that I've worked with so many different types of people that I never expect.
Yeah.
I work with somebody, they're millionaires. And you would imagine and go, well, he's a millionaire. Like, why would he be depressed? He's a trust fund kid. He never had to work for anything. He doesn't have that hunger. So guess what? He lost that and he fell into depression. Now I'm able to talk about this because he allowed me to talk about it, right? So because he believes the story can impact people now. So many people that I never thought, oh my God, a client of mine would be somebody that's worth millions and millions of dollars, and you'd be surprised who shows up to your table. And that is because the belief of I can help anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At the beginning, it was no, I can only help some, but then my mentality changed. The people that came into my world, and the people that I end up hanging out with, has allowed me now to work with CEOs, major corporate companies, to empower everybody.
Yeah. That's powerful, man. That's powerful. So I love this, and I want to go back into the journey and talk about how you got to where we are today. Where did your journey of facing bipolar really start for you, and how did you grow through that?
Well, it started. I believe it started since I was a kid, and I didn't really start seeing it because you can go up to like 15, 20 years without knowing it. Keep in mind that in that time, your mind is acting normal. So you can't see a lot of your facing bipolar, the switches of being manic and being depressed. The only thing that you can do is say, I don't know why. I don't know why I can't get out of bed for 3 weeks, a month or so. Like, I don't know why. So there's no explanation. So it makes it really hard for somebody else to understand it. And I think the development of the illness that I faced started on my teens. So that was really also hard because my family would look at me and go like, how is it that a 16-year-old kid can't get out of bed? You're just being lazy. You don't want to do anything in life, right? So then the thing with that is if I can get your viewers to go like this and put it in your chin. So my man, see, a lot of people follow do this.
Yeah.
Right? So what happens with that, I heard so many times in my life from the people that also told me I love you and I care for you, you're a loser. You're never going to get anywhere. You're never going to become something. And what happens, I end up doing this. Instead of making my own choices, I end up believing what I was told. And for many years that happened. And, I was the black sheep of the family. I'm a 2-time suicide survivor. And the hardest time, which is the second time I tried to commit suicide, and I'm completely honest with this, my own sister told me the best thing you can do is kill yourself as I'm trying to commit suicide.
Wow.
And she turns around, she leaves the house, and there was nobody at the house. So that just gives you an idea of my growing up. I don't want to make this too sad for people, right? Because it's all about empowerment. So that just gives you an idea of how my childhood was in my relationship with my family. And again, it's the first people that I saw. It's the first people that fed me. So how confusing was that to hear you're a loser from the same people that also tell you I love you and I care for you and I would never do anything to hurt you. So that went on for many, many years. But on my second time trying to commit suicide, obviously I got lucky and I'm here now. I asked myself, do I want to try to commit suicide again? Or do I start finding out who I am? Am I really what they tell me that I am? Or who am I? And when I asked myself that main question, who am I decided to make a mind change that says, I need to find out who am I? Because inside of me somewhere tells me that I'm not what they're telling me that I am. And that's how my whole life started changing. And it was a process that was taking for many years. It's a process that took a long time to regain my self-love, to regain my self-worth, but again, to find my happiness because I didn't have happiness because all I had is what I was told I needed to do and how I needed to do it because I'm not anything in life. So that's the root of how my life's been structured and the things that I empower now and the negative things that I've gone through to the terrible things I've gone through to the things I'm doing now. And the important thing is what I'm doing now. You know what I mean? Because I can't go back to the past. Now, one tip that I do want to give people always say, you need to forgive. You need to forgive what other people did to you so you can move on forward. You need to forget how the hurt they did for you so you can move on forward. Well, one of the things I tell my clients is, if you don't want to forgive, that is okay. You have that right. But if you let it go, you can move on forward. And that's the big difference. If you don't want to say, okay, I forgive your actions, that's fine. You have every control, every right to do that. But to determine that continues in your life, then you never move on forward. What I end up doing is like, okay, I don't forgive you for your actions, but because of my health and my worth, I'm going to let it go so I can move forward and grow. And that's one tip that I give people that can apply in a divorce, in a bad business. They can apply in so many different things that they can apply that. Like somebody did you wrong. Well, if you don't want to forgive them, that's good. If you want to forgive them, go ahead. But if not, the main concern is you got to let it go so you can move on forward.
Yeah, it's powerful. How did you start getting the guidance and the wisdom and the personal development when you made that decision of, I'm not going to, subscribe to what other people tell me. I'm going to find out what I'm here for, why I'm on this place. I know I'm meant for more. What steps did you take? How did you grow through that?
Well, it's interesting you say that because I've always been a very outspoken person. I have a great personality. I'm full of life. I like helping people. And I used to do concerts and I used to do events. And I worked with some pretty big name acts. I worked with the Kardashians. I worked with Bruce Willis. And I worked with a lot of big names of people like that. So I was always around people that were accomplishing things. And the thing is, for a lot of those businesses and a lot of those things that I did would hit a certain peak and they wouldn't grow, right? Because again, my belief was I'm never going to accomplish anything. So that's what was in my subconscious mind. So then I started hanging out. A good friend of mine, Michael Schiffner, which I don't know if you know him, and I'm probably pronouncing his name incorrectly. He invited me to a personal development event. He said, you know what? I have a ticket. I can't go. Why don't you enjoy it? So I went, and there was that moment that I was in the room of just people making positive choices. But I say, why are they able to make those choices and not me? Like, I need to start making those choices for me. And again, the let go, I'll start applying more. And the self-worth and the belief in myself. And then again, the type of people that I end up hanging out. I left a lot of the people that I had before in my life. I mean, a lot of them. I just left them all and started hanging out with other people that wanted to have a conversation of what is it we're going to accomplish? What is it we're going to get to? What is it that I want to do? How do I see myself in 5 years? Conversations that I never had. before. So that started coming into my life, and that's what started empowering me. I started picking up books. Obviously, I think everybody has read Think and Go Rich. So I picked up that book. I picked up another book, and just started believing in that. But I'm actually more of a YouTube guy. I'm more of a viewer and listener. So I started getting into podcasts. I started getting into watching other speakers speak. I started watching other motivational videos, and that's how I started to slowly start believing me. And then that moment also, things in my life started falling in place. I started to become a little bit more successful. Relationships around me were better. Personal relationships with other people were starting to get better. Romantic relationships started getting better. Financial, a little bit better. Success started coming a little bit better. And that's how my self-esteem and my self-worth and my self-belief started making that big mind change to be where I'm at now. But this is the thing. I think a lot of people forget this point. You got to be willing to do the work.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people lack. They just want that overnight. And we go to personal development and we hear somebody, hey, I charge $150,000 to speak right now. And you're like, whoa, I want that. But you got to forget that that person's been doing it for 15 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You forget that. You forget that you want to, or you don't want to look at those things. You know what I mean? Or whatever anybody charges. You want to compare it to yourself right away. And one thing that I've learned, because my process was so step by step, it didn't happen overnight. I learned that I needed to do the work. And that's one of the most important lessons that I think people need to understand. Gotta be willing to do the work. And by doing the work, I have the opportunity to be speaking to you and to your audience.
Yeah. That's incredible, man. So what was it? You made the decision to start working on yourself, to not stay where you were. You committed to doing the work. How did you know what work to do? How did you know, how to develop yourself personally and shift those beliefs? You went to seminars, you went to events. Like, how did you know what was your blocks?
I've always been good to PR and marketing. I done stuff with big names. Chivas Rigo, I done stuff with them. I helped them create a campaign for the Hispanic market, and that just came out natural. I think everybody has a certain natural gift, right? And when that natural gift starts, building a little bit more, having more opportunities, and still having all those those ups and downs, but those good things that would happen would empower me to want to find out the next good thing, no matter how many slopes I went down, because I got the opportunity to taste the good part. So the hunger of the good part is what I was looking for.
Wow.
So I also learned to embrace and enjoy the struggle. You know what I mean? It's like when people tell me no, I'm like, cool. And people are like, well, he just told you no. I'm like, that's great. I don't have to waste time with that person anymore.
Yeah.
I got to move on forward. And people get so destroyed with the word no. And I've been told no all my life. So it doesn't mean anything to me anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? It means what I want to do now. So that's some of the things that I start doing. And one of the most important things that I learned was to make a mind change in the sense of when we meet somebody, when you face a mental illness, is I am bipolar, right? I am depressed. I have anxiety. And what happens with that, you never learn how to separate yourself from the illness. Because I'm telling you, Chris, I am bipolar, and then I walk away. The thing that Chris is going to remember is that's the bipolar guy. Right? So one thing that I learned and that I apply and has made me very successful, the mind change of saying, I face bipolar. Now, when you say that, there's a subconscious connection right away because everybody has faced something. Your audience is looking at us now. You yourself has faced something. So the subconscious already makes a connection. Also, face means that you're doing something about it. So we all have had a struggle. So you might not understand my struggle, but you understand a struggle. So automatically that also helps remove the negative stigma.
Yeah.
Because now we can connect on a different level, in a subconscious level that leads to your presence. Right? So this is what I face and I'm doing something about it. So people start looking at different. So now I'm Armando Aguilar, and by the way, I face bipolar if the conversation comes up to that, right?
Yeah.
And people remember Armando Aguilar. Bipolar is like, oh man, you gone through all that and you're successful, and you face bipolar. Wow, you know what I mean? But before, it used to be my identity. So one of the big steps that I teach people is how to separate yourself from what anything you're going through. For if you fail in something, if you're facing an illness, how to make that separation and find your own identity again. That's the things that I'm really passionate to teach people, because no matter what you're going through, I guarantee you somebody who's watching this can totally go, oh my God, that just changed my life.
Yeah.
Because I'm no longer what people tell me. I'm no longer the illness. I'm no longer a failure. I'm things that I face. Those are things that I faced in my life, and I'm a growing person, and I'm becoming successful.
Yeah.
Or I am successful.
Yeah. That's so powerful, man. And I think it's like when you recognize what brings you alive, what brings you joy, like you have done, you recognize how do you shift your identity? How do you detach the circumstances from your identity? It's one of the most powerful skill sets that we can develop. And through a coach like, working with you, Armando, people can shift their identity. They can shift what they pay attention to, what they focus on, and reclaim their power, reclaim showing up in the world as their best self.
Right. And now I no longer have that fear of people trying to put the stigma on me. So that made such a big difference in my life.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't apply to me. It just doesn't. So I don't care less. Now, if you want, I can educate you. I'd be more happy. But if your mentality is steady to that's what it is, that's fine. That's your opinion. And you're okay to entitle to your opinion.
Yeah.
So I think when people can start making those choices and start separating see, the words that I think that destroy the most dreams in people's lives, the most dreams is what would other people think.
Wow.
Those are the words that destroy people's lives. What is my husband? What is my mother? What is my neighbor gonna think? What's my partner gonna think? What is the person that I just met is gonna think? And because of that, you never become what you want to become, because you're so worried about what other people think. There's a saying that says, it goes something like this. It says, I am what I think you think I am. I'm not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am.
Yeah. That's powerful.
I mean, and that's what happens. We end up living a life that we think that's what the person thinks of us. And that's what I need to fulfill. And then you end up doing things that you're not happy with. So the empowerment of doing things that make you happy. And again, it was my struggles. My struggles have been told so many times, you're never going to find your happiness. You're never going to become anything. And the moment I started finding those was the moments that hunger came into my life, where I no longer worry about what you thought, because it's about my happiness.
Yeah.
It's not selfish. It's not selfish. It's not selfish, because at the end of the day, if I'm not happy, how could I give my partner or a loved one part of me? I'm unhappy with myself.
You're giving from an empty cup, if there's like unhappiness and you're focused on that, and that's in your space, that's in your energy, it's in your philosophy of life, you're dealing with it, you're confronting it. There's nothing wrong with confronting that, but if that's who you are and like get stopped by like all the time, then that's what you'll also be giving to the people around you.
Right. There's one of the things that I do in my speaking is I tell the story of the man that talks to the tree. So there's this neighbor that lives on the second floor in a condo, and he sees his neighbor every night talking to the tree. and just telling the tree off and yelling and screaming and giving him the finger, all this. And then he leaves, and the neighbor turns around and tells his wife, "This guy is crazy. He talks to the tree." Then he would see him in the morning, and he would talk to the tree again and just bitch and moan and say the F word and all kinds of things, right? Yeah. And he would tell his wife again, "Look at him. Not only at night, but in the morning, this guy is crazy." And the wife said, "Won't you ask him what he tells the tree?" I was like, I'm not going to talk to somebody that's crazy. I mean, I talk to the tree. So after time, he had the courage to say, "Neighbor, what do you tell the tree?" Oh, he goes, "It's easy. I tell the tree all my problems. So when I walk into my house, I left my problems in the tree. And in the morning, I pick up my problems again and go find a solution for them. So I recommend that everybody finds their tree. Wow. So you can talk to it, do that separation, and you can enjoy life a lot better."
I love it. I love it, Armando. Or talk to a coach. That's also
exactly.
That's
or
also
talk to your coach. Exactly. But if you can't afford a coach, talk to a tree, or do both. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Excellent. You know what I mean? Talk to a coach, do both.
Yeah.
And it's just insights like that you tell people, and they're like, "Whoa, I never thought of that." And you're right. I would have thought that person is crazy. And a lot of things that we end up doing that people might think, again, if you would have thought what other people think,
right,
he would have lived a miserable life.
Yeah.
But he didn't care what other people think because he was doing what was healthy for him, what was best for him. And that's the important thing. You need to do what's healthy for you, what is best for you, what's going to be more successful for you.
Yeah.
It's whether powerful. You face anything.
It's powerful, Armando. What was the intention behind starting your YouTube channel? Tell us a little bit more about that.
My YouTube channel, I'm glad you brought it up. My YouTube channel it's about empowering people, just like the message that I just gave you, like that. I do small videos that are, a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, that have empowerment stories like that, that I give tips with, that I think can empower people. And then we have some really cool interviews. One of the interviews that we're working on right now is Tom Bilyeu, which, if you're familiar with Tom Bilyeu, he's a gentleman that started Crest Nutrition, and he built Crest Nutrition to be the number 2 nutrition company independently, and within a year and a half. So it's just mind-blowing that he was able to do that. He turned around and he sold Crest Nutrition, and now he's a gentleman that has worth $400 million. And I have an opportunity to sit down and speak to people like that, and people are like, "Oh my God, how did you do that? If a couple of years ago, you're the kid that was depressed."
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's because I didn't let anything. I don't let the illness that I face or the negativity in life stop me. Now, it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt me when people hurt me. It doesn't mean when people fail on me. It doesn't mean it doesn't hurt me. Now, because those emotions we have. Now, it means that I no longer dwell on them.
Right.
I let them go. That's the thing.
And so you develop yourself into this person you're surrounded by awesome people. How does that fit into your YouTube channel? Because you mentioned you make few minutes videos. How does the interviewing part play into it?
Well, our interviews are very interesting because our interviews, we're in the process of also doing an interview with Frankie J, the singer. And my interview with him, it's not based about his music. It's based on who he is. Yeah. What has he done? How does he teach his kids to follow their dreams? How do you teach his kids to, when somebody approaches them, to be able to see the quality they approach them because they like them or because they want to get close to him? What's the struggles when he was told so many times, "No, you're not going to be successful. No, we don't want to record you. No, we don't want to sign you to a deal. No, that song is not going to be a hit." That's more of our conversations that we have. I think we have a mutual friend, Greg Reeds. And my conversation with Greg was really cool because it was about, how is it dating when you're 50? Have you faced depression? What's the failures you've gone through in your life? So it wasn't much about Secret Knock. It wasn't much about he spoke in front of Microsoft, and it wasn't much about that. It was much more about who the person is, and that's what makes our show so different. Because you can Google and you can find out all the success that Frankie J has had, Tom Bilyeu, and Greg Reeves. You can do that, but do you really get to know how does it feel to be 50-year-old, a single dad, and date?
Right.
How do you get to know what is it they do when they feel depressed, and what's the steps they take to not feel depressed?
Yeah.
Do you get to know what's the things when they tell them no and he has to turn around and tell his family, you know what? They didn't want to take me again. They didn't believe in my project. That's the things that we tap into, and that's what makes our show so different. That your fame is great, but I'm not Google. Google does completely that, and that Google's phenomenal at that. I want to get to know you. And that's what makes us really different, because now we connect on a personal level with people that reach a lot of things. Another gentleman that you actually had an interview with was Steve Sin.
Yep.
And we were talking, and Steve Sin's within the conversation, backstage, he's like, people ask me so much all the time who my clients are, and they want to tap into much to my clients. And I told him, I can really care less who your clients are. We need to say it so people know who you are. Right. But your relationship, if you call Elon Musk and he calls you and you guys wish happy birthday, I can care less for that. Like, that doesn't mean anything to me. But what I want to know is, like, how is it that you got into this profession? How is it that you make so many awesome things for so many people come through? That's what I want to know. And one of the things he talked within the conversation was, like, when I was 22, I bought a Ferrari. But I bought the Ferrari not for me. I bought it for you. And that's the things that we talked about, how we want to impress other people, because we believe we need to be what other people think we are. So that's the things that we tap into, that people would never consider that. Right. He never speaks about that in other interviews. Because every other interview, people ask him about his success and the people that he works with, which are very high level people. Right. Richard Branson, and the list goes on. And that's great. But I want to get to know him. And the things and that's what makes our show so different. Then not only do we give them empowerment tips with their personal development, or if you're facing a mental illness, or you're in a depressed stage in your life, it's also bring people that you would never imagine to be in a show, Bipolar Depression Power, tell you their story in a different level, and their relationships. I have somebody that says, I still have to wash dishes at home. Doesn't matter how many millions I have in my bank. My wife makes me wash dishes. You know what I mean? Yep. It's things that you wouldn't imagine like that, because you'd see him like, oh, successful. He would never wash dishes. Right. Well, guess what? He has to wash dishes and change diapers and do things like that, right? It's those things that we tap into that people can go, oh my God, I can relate with that person in such a personal level now, and I want to work to the success that that person has. But there's a connection, a different connection. And that's what makes us different. That's what makes our show different. We're not a full launch show yet. We're going to be launching it within a month. Okay. But we're doing some videos, and we're getting some awesome feedback and some awesome response. I invite your following to subscribe to it, send me a message, and let me know who would you like to have interview next, and what do you think? I mean, it's all about growing, and I believe feedback's the best feedback, whether it be negative or positive. I think feedback's the best.
Absolutely, man. So tell us a little bit more about, like, your coaching. What do you focus on specifically with your clients when they come to you for? What kind of breakthroughs do you really work towards with them?
Well, each client is different. So that's the beauty of it. So if it's somebody like I said, like somebody that has a past, that, first of all, I'm not a therapist. I want to point that out. I am a life coach. Has a past that has, crumbled their future. I talk about it, and I go through the steps I've taken. You know what I mean? And I teach them the elements of, find your own tree, separate yourself from whatever's bringing you down. So every client, I do something that's very custom to that client's needs. Like the client that I spoke a little while ago about, he's a multimillionaire, and you expect that he would never have any issues. And one of the things that I met him do is like, go get a $10 job.
Mm.
He's like, well, why? So you can understand people, so you can understand the show, so you can understand responsibility of you have to be at a certain place at a certain time. You can understand somebody telling you this is what you need to do, taking orders. So each client is different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then again, with mental illness, it's sometimes it's not just about the client; it's working with the family. Because if the family is not in tune, how do we want a positive outcome? So we create coping plans. We do so many different things with our different clients. But the beauty of it is, again, I think the most important thing that I teach, no matter what, is to find yourself and to do what makes you happy and stop doing what other people think is good for you, and to no longer fear these words, what other people think, and the word no, because that's another word that destroys every dream. And people also need to understand that the word no is a full sentence. Because people tend to like, I don't want to tell them no. Well,
right.
You're going to be unhappy doing what you don't want to do. Just be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
You know, another thing when people, here's a great tip. People need to remember when people ask you, are you okay? And you turn around and say you're okay. The only person you're lying to is yourself, because that person's going to turn around and walk away. Be honest with yourself. Nobody's okay all the time. Nobody has a perfect life. They might have a perfect period in their time of their life. They might have a moment, a year or two, whatever you want to call it, that's perfect in their life. Great, perfect to them, or perfect to somebody else that sees it, but nobody has a perfect life. And that's about the coaching. Right? It's about making people realize, oh my God, I have failed. What is it the things that I need to do to move forward? My failures do not determine who I am. I love my L's, by the way. Oh, I love them. I embrace them and I talk about them. Yeah, I fell in that because it only made me stronger. See, I made a video for Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving people is like, I'm so thankful for this, and nobody's thankful for their mistakes. So my video is like, I'm thankful for my mistakes, and I recommend that you become thankful for your mistakes. And people are like, why? I go, because your mistakes is what made you be thankful for what you're thankful now.
Yeah.
I mean, your mistakes is what made you successful in your relationship if you went through a divorce. And now you're not going to do the things that led you to a divorce. Now you're not going to do the things that led you to a failed business. Now they're not going to do the things that led you to not a correct partnership, whether it be a romance, friendship, or business. You should be thankful for those mistakes because they allow you to grow.
Yeah, grateful for the pain, grateful for the pain as wisdom so that we can live our life now. And it talked about forgiveness. You don't necessarily have to forgive the person, but let it go. Forgive yourself for learn to let that go so you don't keep carrying it with you. And that's the same thing with the mistakes. Be grateful for the mistakes, leave the pain and the suffering in the past, but bring forth the wisdom and the lessons.
One more thing too. Admit your mistakes.
Yeah.
A lot of people do not want to admit them, and that's why I embrace my L's. Because once you embrace them, you can leave them in your past, and you can say, "This is what I learned," and I can move on forward, and I can care less. Somebody can't throw it in my face anymore because it's not. I don't allow it to go in my own face.
Right.
So those are the things that I teach in life coaching. You know what I mean? That's the things that I teach. I teach how to separate yourself, how to embrace yourself, how to learn your own self-worth, and how to let go of things. If you don't want to forgive, it's okay, but how to let go of things so you can move on forward. How to find what makes you happy. Find your passion. Yeah. Find your why. That's one of the big things. My why is that I'm so happy that I get to help people. I am so happy that I help people to fulfill their dreams, to have a happy relationship, and most of all, to no longer want to commit suicide.
Mm.
And that is priceless.
Yeah.
And people, don't get me wrong, people always have the idea that only people that face mental illness want to commit suicide. No, there's so many people that you'd be surprised that are in that stage in their life. So to be able to empower them and to be able to tell them you could, and most of all, be willing to do the work.
Yeah.
That's what brings the biggest joy to me every day. And that's what makes me want to wake up.
That's awesome.
Every single day, do what I do. That is definitely my why, because I definitely been to the point where I was told I was not going to be anything for I would say 80% of my life.
Yeah.
And I felt. And now those connections that we go back to that we talked about, the connections that the business with doing stuff with the Kardashians and Mana for the Hispanic market and all that. Now I'm pulling those connections again in my life. And people have told me, "Oh my God, Armando, you're such a different person. Like you're so different. I'm so happy to see the new you.
That's awesome.
And I want to work with you now. Like I want to do so much with you now because you're different." And again, I repeat this. There's many times I've been hurt. There's many times that people have done me wrong, and that's part of life.
Yep.
That's part of life. Learning how to find yourself, learning how to let go doesn't mean you're not going to trip. Doesn't mean you're going to hit yourself on the floor. That doesn't mean that. It means that now you're going to be stronger to be able to get up.
Yeah.
And continue going.
Yeah. Plus, when you like know who you want to be as a person, when you design yourself and the person you want to become, the identity you want to step into every single day, you also know the type of people that you want to attract into your life, the type of people that you want to be around. And you, like you said earlier, you had to let go of a lot of people who weren't serving you anymore. You had to leave them in your past and move on to create new connections, new associations that filled you up, that fulfilled your spirit. And when you're doing that, even if you do all the planning, all the preparations, and someone shows up as their best, you're like, oh, we're going to be forever friends. Life is going to be amazing forever. Life happens to people, Like who knows what kind of things that they might be going through, or who knows what might come up later down the line. So it's just like taking it day by day and being grateful for all the things that are going well and celebrating those good moments and the good people that are in your life, but not being attached to hold on to them in like desperation or fear or anything like that. Like just trust the journey, trust the process, and know that the right people will be in your life at the right time for your greatest possible growth and happiness and fulfillment.
Yes, and another really important thing is that we determine who sits at our table.
Yeah.
A lot of people think just because you have a label of brother or sister, mom or dad, right, that I can't stop talking to my sister, or I can't stop talking to my mom. But they're the most toxic people in your life. So just because they have a label, you have to also learn to let go because they're the most toxic people in your life. So you determine, this is one of the steps that I teach my clients in my life coaching is, so there's your main table, your core table where you have friends and people in your life. They'll tell you effed up. You know what I mean? They'll tell you, you know what, right now, I don't even want to talk to you.
Right.
I mean, right now, what you did there, that, or you hurt me with this, or you know what, you're making a wrong decision. That's not a good path for you. But those are the people that tell you, you might not want to hear it, right? I'll give you an example. Years ago, my best friend, I call him and I'm like, hey, dude, I just got the job. I got the sick. They like me. I'm going to go to the second interview. I have it. I am just full of life. And he turns around and he tells me, you don't have the job. Go look for another job. And I'm like, you're a jerk. How can you tell me that? I'm full of life, blah, blah, blah. You should build me. He goes, no, the reality thing is that you don't have the job. And you can't sit there and wait there. You got to move on forward. And it hurt me. And at that moment, trust me, I told him all kinds of things you can imagine. But guess what? I didn't get the job.
Wow.
So he was right. So that's the core people that sit in your table. They're always going to be honest with you. They're always going to be real. You might not want to hear what they have to say at that moment. It might be hurtful, but those are the people that are real for you. And those are the people that you allow to do that. And that's your first table. Now, you have a second table that goes around. It's people that you care, you have conversations, you hang out with, you're friends with, and they have some input in your life, right? But it's not the input that they might not always want the best for you, or they might be jealous or whatever, because that's just the way life is. But you see them at events, you hang out, you go to places, you go to dinner, and they're there, and you have a friendship there, right? But that's not your core people. But it's people that you also value what they say, but you don't take it too hard. Right. And then around that, we have the other table that is everybody else that we just bump into. We just kind of know. We see here, we see there. You know what I mean? They put a comment on your page on Facebook or whatever, and just haters. They tell you you suck, you're this and that. And again, there's always going to be that table, and you just don't know that table. You keep it a lot further than you because that's just the way life is, right? So by determining who sits on your core table, that you allow to be completely honest with you, but also where you can be completely honest with that conversation with someone, where you don't fear to tell them anything, because at the end of the day, you know they want the best for you. And in my table, I only have 4 people like that sit at my table. But I'd rather have only 4 people than have 20 people. They're not the correct people.
That's right.
So I am happy with my 4 people. Yeah. Very happy. And I'm very careful if I want to have a 5th one to sit there. Very careful, you know what I mean? I'm very happy with my 4 people. They call me on my stuff. They call me on my mistakes. They empower me. They help me. And that's the thing. So when you can learn how to sit your 3 tables, your core table, your table that has an influence in you, that you talk, that you do business with, that you hang out with, that don't determine, the input they can give you, they can break you down. And then the other table, the big table that everybody just throws ideas in there. And once you can establish that, you could also be more successful because, like you said, now you start impacting the people that you want. Now you're destroying that. And now you also start seeing, if that person said that, does that break me, or do I just allow that person's opinion? Because that's all it is an opinion. Some people are going to love you, some people are going to hate you. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just the way it is. Yeah. And when you can determine, that's not a person that sits on my table. If you can just go with that mentality, great. Say whatever you want. You're not part of my main table, or you're not even part of the table that goes around it. You're part of the huge table.
Yeah.
So once you can, if you can point it in things like that, it just makes it a lot easier because it just makes a lot more sense. Oh, well, yeah, here's table 1, here's table 2, and here's table 3. Oh, you don't fit on my table. Okay. So when you can lay out as a coach, when you can lay out things in a certain way that can just make people go, right, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Instead of really sometimes going into too much detail and trying to break it down too much, when you can put in a simplicity message, it has a lot more power. So as a coach, you also have to learn that. And you also have to learn your client, if you should really go into more of a huge detail or present it in such a way that it's so pleasant and so easy to understand that has so much power to it.
Yeah, it's a great example, man. It's a great example. I love how you shared too, like 4 people is enough. Like it's quality over quantity. It's like not about having the most. And I think that's a growth phase for a lot of people, especially in social media. Like, I just want to get as many people as I possibly can to be my friends. And I want as many people in my audience as I possibly can. Well, that's great. But are people buying? Are people, connecting with you and calling you and saying happy birthday? If not, then it's you got a sign there that like you've been treating it as a quantity game, not a quality game. And I think that you're totally demonstrating that quality, Armando. So, if we could really sum up this interview with like some final pieces of wisdom and guidance so our audience can implement it right away and really experience those benefits, what would you recommend?
This is what I want to recommend. Write 25 times in the morning, I love myself. 25 times middle of the day, I love myself. 25 times at the end of the night. And when you write them, feel it. Say it out loud and actually feel that emotion. I invite you to do that for a month. 25 times in the morning, 25 times in the and then 25 times at night. Just write it down, say it, feel it. Because that's the way we learn. We learn by hearing it, by seeing it, and by feeling.
Yep.
Right? So if you can apply those things, because self-love is something that we've never been taught. We've been taught to love your mom, love your dad, love your neighbor, love your friend, love your, love your teachers. But we've never been taught love yourself. So if I can empower anybody that's watching this to build self-love, then I did my job here. I mean, so that's one of the main tips that I recommend people to do. Write it 25 times in the morning, because when you do it in the morning, that's how your day starts. When you do it in the afternoon, no matter things are going on, you regain that self-love. And at night, we remember the last thing we tell ourselves. So if at night you can tell yourself again self-love, then that would really empower. And that tip, trust me, has changed so many people's lives. I mean, it's just huge. So that's just definitely one of them that I recommend that they do. And then there's tons of other ones. You know what I mean? That they can be done. But I think remember when you tell somebody I'm okay, that you're lying to yourself. That's another one that I think it's important that you say that, because once you start being honest with yourself, your life will start changing.
Amen, man. Share the truth. Share what's really going on, because that's the only way people can make the difference. You have to ask for that help. Be willing to ask. And when people check in, it's a sign, universe saying, hey, we got someone here who's checking in on you. Are you going to be truthful? Are you going to, really give up looking good or trying to, prove that you've got it all together? Or are you going to be real and connect with someone who's there to demonstrate that?
Most definitely. And you don't have to tell them your issues.
Right.
You can just say, you know what? Right now I'm going through a situation that I'm trying to figure out. You don't have to tell them, oh my God, I'm depressed and I'm fading. Right. I'm going through trouble with my family or my kid or this. You don't have to tell them anything. You can just, word it in a way like, hey, you know what? Right now I'm going through those situations, but I'm working on it. And once you tell them that more, you're going to start feeling more honest with yourself. You're going to start feeling better. Because you know what? That pressure is going to start leaving you.
Yep.
The pressure. And I guarantee you, 90% of the people that you tell that will turn around and say, you know what? I'm also going through something.
Yeah, that's powerful. Powerful. Yeah. Be that connection, man. So Armando, this is gold, man. Our audience definitely wants to know how they can stay connected. How do they find your YouTube? Tell them, man. Tell them how to stay connected with the Armando Aguilar.
Mira, en español, bien dicho. My channel is Bipolar Depression Power at YouTube. Cool. Smash the subscribe button. It's healthy for you. Facebook, Armando Aguilar. I'm the only one with this face, so you won't miss me. And then on Instagram, Bipolar Depression Power too. Cool. And on Facebook, Bipolar Depression Power. And just throw out there my email if anybody wants to reach out to me more of a personal level, Bipolar Depression Power at Gmail. And I'm willing to give anybody that sends me a message that's here with you a free 30-minute, I don't even like to call it consultation. I like to call it a chat. Awesome. You know what I mean? Just chat and see if we connect. And if we connect, great. And if not, let's just build a friendship. Not everything has to be about sales. Not everything has to be about work. Sometimes you just meet the right people over a conversation that empower you so much more.
Yeah.
So I invite anybody to just do a chat, a half an hour chat. I'm more than happy. Send me a message and we'll set it up.
Definitely, Armando. Everyone who's listening or watching, stay connected with this guy. Reach out to him, connect with him, have a conversation, because he'll uplift your spirits, take you to a whole new level. And Armando, dude, thank you so much for coming on today. I appreciate you sharing your wisdom, being the light, and this is just the beginning of the massive impact that you're making. Stoked to see how the channel grows, your impact and influence grows, and dude, keep up the amazing work. Keep inspiring and empowering people. You are awesome, brother.
Thank you, brother. I also want to say thank you for allowing me to be here, for the opportunity to share my message with the audience. It really means a lot to me because I know you did it from the kind of your heart. You reach out to Mr. Armando I believe in what you're doing, and I just want to bring you as a guest, and that really touched my heart, man. So I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Armando. We'll see you soon, okay?
Talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye.